Did you know that in Garfield Kart Furious Racing, if you watch the credits for what is admittedly a really long time, eventually all of the names in the credits will change to Garfield's nemesis, Odie. Hello and welcome back to Hidden Video Game Details, the series that aims to show you things that you may not have known about your favourite video games so that you can look really clever in front of Ace Ventura Pet Detective. As always, if you think you know of a hidden video game detail that I am yet to cover, then please let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and if you do go on to enjoy this video, then leaving a like would be super appreciated. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. So in the last episode of this series, we discovered that damaging a vending machine in Fortnite would make it beg for you to stop. Well, loads of you suggested that you didn't have to be mean to get a response from the machines. If you approach one of these helpful dispensers and dance, this will happen. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
Socks like I'm Biggie Papa.
So the vending machines will acknowledge your slick moves, even asking you to teach me that arm thing. It's a really nice touch. Now, regular viewers may remember that in episode 68 of this very series, I was overly impressed by the realistic physics of a fish tank in Ready or Not. Well, despite being an impressive detail, it seems that this isn't something new in video games. Timesplitters 2 is a first-person shooter that was released in 2002 for the 6th generation of consoles. Despite having a campaign to complete, anyone who's played Timesplitters 2 will tell you that the multiplayer was where the fun was at. Honestly, I spent so many hours playing multiplayer with my two sisters and brother who aren't gamers in the slightest. That's how good it was. Even if you didn't consider yourself a fan of video games, you could still enjoy Timesplitters 2. Well, funnily enough, the detail that we're interested in isn't actually found in the multiplayer. It can be found in the campaign. If you shoot a whiskey barrel on the Chicago level, this will happen. So the whiskey will leak up until your bullet hole and then stop. If you shoot another hole below the first shot, the barrel will continue to leak. Now, admittedly, you can't see the liquid inside of the barrel, so it's not as impressive as the Ready or Not fish tank, but let's not forget that Timesplitters 2 did release in 2002. Up next is a game that I really didn't expect to like as much as I do. Sifu is a martial arts beat-em-up developed by Slowcap and was released this year. It's honestly one of the most satisfying games I've ever played. Walking into a room and clearing a group of enemies whilst masterfully dodging and parrying strikes reminds me of the Arkham games. Though Sifu, as has been spoken about a lot since it launched, is much harder. Oh, and if you're wondering why my character looks like Daredevil, well, that's because PC modders are gods amongst men. Anyway, one of the main gameplay mechanics of Sifu is death. Each time you die, you come back to life, albeit a little bit older. The older you are, the more damage you do, but at the cost of having less health. Well, have you ever thought what it would be like to be fighting someone and they keep coming back to life? Well, some of the enemies in Sifu definitely understand that frustration.
Stay down, damn it! What the? Again? Why won't you die? Don't you ever fucking die? Just stay down! God damn it! Would you just die?
So as I mentioned, Sifu is hard, so you will probably be hearing these lines of dialogue a lot, but I still think it's cool how the enemies acknowledge your powers of recovery. Now, when it comes to attention to detail, Naughty Dog are some of the best in the business. Games like The Last of Us 2 and Uncharted 4 were some of the most detailed games on the last generation of consoles. And with a new release for Uncharted 4 in the form of the Legacy of Thieves collection for the PlayStation 5, it's better than ever. Now, I have covered a few details from Uncharted 4 in this series in the past, but today's Uncharted 4 detail is one of my personal favourites, and one that I didn't know about until very recently. Early on in the game, Nate finds himself in a Panamanian jail, and when being escorted through the corridors of the jail by guards, if you take a wrong turn, this will happen.
Hey, you know, this doesn't look like the warden's office.
Go left. Your other left?
Yes, sir.
So the guard asks Nate to take a left, but if he heads right, the guard will point him in the right direction. It's a small detail, but one that a lot of game developers would never have thought of adding. So this week, CD Projekt Red surprisingly launched a next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077. Boasting higher frame rates, resolutions, and extra features, it is worth checking out, at least in my opinion, especially as you can trial the game for 5 hours. Now, early on in 2077, you're introduced to brain dancers. For those that don't know, a brain dance is a super immersive virtual reality experience that allows you to see events through the eyes of someone else. When I say eyes, you can actually interact with the events from a variety of different perspectives. It's actually pretty cool. For example, the brain dance at the beginning of the game sees V witnessing a robbery, where the robber gets killed in the store. Well, what's really cool is, if you head to that store, which can be found at this location on the map, the shop owner will say this.
Ugh. Why do I smell chlorine?
Oh, you know, I had to clean the floors recently. Few stains that wouldn't come out. No big deal. So, what will it be?
So the shopkeeper will explain he had to use chlorine to clean some stains that wouldn't come out. Of course, referring to the brains of the robber that was splattered all over his store. It's one of those details that a lot of people may not know, simply because they've never visited this store before. So the final detail for today's video comes from Dying Light 2. Now, one of my favourite examples of detail is when a game implements the events of a pre-launch trailer. A famous example of this can be found in another Techland game, Dead Island, where you could find the parents that featured in the iconic Zombie Child trailer. Well, if you head to this location on the map, you can find 2 women dead in a building. These 2 women are the same women from the cinematic trailer for the game, who were unfortunately caught and killed by zombies. But what about the man who jumped out of the window? Well, if we head outside, we can see him laying on the floor. Extra points goes to Techland, who even added the cut to the man's cheek to his in-game model. It's a great example of attention to detail. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of hidden details and Easter eggs in video games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.